The name of this week's Parsha is Kedoshim. Kedoshim means you shall be holy. You shall be holy because I, Hashem, are holy. And the Torah then goes on to explain this holiness. How do you achieve this holiness? What are the different mitzvot, the precepts that you do? There are certain precepts between us and Hashem, other precepts between us and other human beings. But throughout Jewish history, the word Kedoshim, holy ones, is a word that became to be associated with people who died, al kiddush Hashem, for sanctifying God's name. In other words, martyrs. They gave up their life rather than betray Hashem. There are many famous examples of this. Perhaps the most famous in the entire Talmud is Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was arrested because he was publicly teaching Torah. And the Romans had forbade it on pain of death. And he was put in prison. And ultimately he was sentenced to death. And it was a very painful death. They scraped his skin with iron combs. But while this was happening to him, he said, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. God, you are one. And his students said, even now, Rabbi Akiva, even now you're doing this? And he said, my entire life, I wondered when I would have the chance to fulfill the mitzvah. Because it says, V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha, you shall love Hashem your God, with all of your heart, with all nafshecha, and with all of your soul. Even if he would take your soul, and now he's taking my soul, shouldn't I fulfill this mitzvah with joy and proclaim that Hashem is one? And therefore he became a kadosh, a holy one. He gave up his life for Hashem. And there are many other people, great people like Rabbi Akiva, and simple people. And when we speak about those who were killed in the Holocaust, those who were murdered by the Nazis in the Holocaust, we refer to them as Kedoshim, as sacred ones, as holy ones. They were killed for one reason, because they were Jewish. And they didn't turn on their Judaism. And they died as holy people. Unfortunately, this year also, on Simchat Torah, on the 7th of October, there were over 1,000 people who were massacred, who were killed, who were tortured by Hamas when they broke into the south of Israel. Some of these people were observant. Some of them were the furthest thing from observant. But you know what? Each and every one of them is a kadosh, is a sacred and a holy person. And that's how they forever will be remembered. Because they died for one reason, because they were Jewish. No other reason. That's all. That's why they died. Kedoshim to you, you shall be holy. Now, of course, that's a very high form of dedicating one's life to Hashem, to actually give one's soul to Hashem. But we should never have to be in that situation. But we can live our lives as Kedoshim, as holy ones, as sacred ones, by following the mitzvot in the Torah, and specifically those that are mentioned in Pasha Kedoshim. We have the mitzvah of loving our fellow neighbor. We have the mitzvah of Shabbat. There are so many different avenues in which we can be Kedoshim. Not just to die as holy ones, but to live as holy ones. I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.